I'm live. Hi, me again. I don't know why I'm going live again. It's kind of partly procrastinating. No, it's not procrastinating. Do you know what? I've managed to get a few bits done this morning. It's 10 to 12 already. It's my studio in a box that I use to photograph my pouches. And it's just taken a bit of finagling this morning to try and get the right setup. It's so sunny today that it's actually too much natural light. Can't win. There's either not enough or there's too much. Super loud. If that's too noisy with the construction going on down the road, let me know and I'll close the window, although it is hot as balls in here today. And I've got long sleeves on. I'm not really a long sleeve person, especially when it's the weather starts to warm up. But here I am. I thought because it was sort of loose and flowy, it would be fine. But I just get warm really easily. Anyway, I thought I'd try to stick a little bit of a descriptor in the video title, because yesterday was a real random ramble, and the one thing I'd wanted to actually mention I completely forgot to mention, which was that it was International Women's Day yesterday, and I totally dropped the ball and forgot to mention it. I kept thinking if you watch that video or if you were there, you'd be oh, there was something I wanted to mention, and it was that. What a silly. So yeah, I am here doing a bit of a live, and just I wanted to keep this a short, probably shorter than yesterday's one. Good morning from Maine. Hello, Holly. Maine. Wow. So what's the difference there? 5 hours in Maine, I believe, because you're East Coast, right? You're up at the northeast coast of the US. But yeah, I think that's 5 hours difference. So it's about 10 to 7 in the morning for you, if that's the case. Can I ever get my bloody glasses clean? There we go. The light's still a bit shocking, isn't it? Shockingly bad. It's so dark in this damn corner. I think I need more than one ring light, to be honest, because even when I'm working here, when it's dark, I mean, it's going to be hopefully less of a problem during the summer. I can see what I'm doing at my desk. But for filming, it's still a bit too dark. You can see my little my microphone, my little spuffle there. But that's all right. It makes it look like a little radio show. Hi, folks, and welcome to Kelly Bear FM. So, did anyone else, when they were kids, make little radio shows and tape them? I'm showing my age now. We would tape them. We'd get a boom box. That's what they were called, folks. I don't know what they're called now. And yeah, in a tape, and you could use the mic that was inbuilt into the boombox and record. And so me and my sister and me and our friends and cousins would make just our own radio shows. Also, I'm of the age where you would tape songs that you liked off of the radio, and you would have to press really quickly at the end to cut off before the DJ, the radio host, started talking again. I'm that years old. We've got Diane here. Lovely to see you again. We've got Amanda, Kelly FM Radio, and Marsha's here again. Such a treat. Another live. I know, right? I'm like, oh my God, what is with me? I've go through phases of not wanting to make videos and then just making loads of videos. I think that's just also, we just have some natural cycles. And I think if I want to get back in the saddle in making videos more regularly again, I just need to tear the plaster off, or the black band-aid off, as you call them in the US, and just start doing again. And I think the two easiest ways to do that is to do lives, if you have the capacity to go live, and or do VRs and tags, which I would like to do, just to get that joy back of making videos for Tarot Tube, because I've gotten so bogged down with and I have mentioned this in some other videos as well, so bogged down in what am I trying to say in this channel, and what's my voice, and what am I, because I don't really do that many walkthroughs, she says, having filmed a walkthrough yesterday, which I'm trying to find a good time to upload, because our internet's wonky and I don't want to slow the internet down while my husband is working. But then sometimes in the evening we want to stream a film, so then we don't want, it's a thing. But that will be going up this week, hopefully. But yeah, I just need to do fun stuff, and as I get back into the what's the word, not the routine, to the swing of things, that's the term I use, back into the swing of things, I should hopefully be able to sort of find my voice and my footing again, you know. So I overthink things all the time. I'm working out, I overthink things. And I think what happened, you know, when I first started my channel, I started it, as many of us do, with Ethany's 31 Days of Tarot in January 2016. And, you know, no one's really watching. You know, the view numbers are low, and, you know, had already been around on YouTube in the tarot sphere because I was watching and interacting with Kellyanne Maddox, and I was going into Kelly Fitz's lives on a Saturday evening, and, you know, just sort of getting to know people and watching their videos. And I don't even really remember why I wanted to start making videos. I just thought that looks like fun, I'll give it a go, impulsively, not really thinking out long term. And it's so much easier to make videos when you don't have that sounds really awful, but it's easier to make videos without worrying about being judged or people expecting stuff from you, or expecting a certain kind of thing or energy or content from you if you have less views. And I have wavered just under 4,000 subscribers for just over a year, maybe about a year and 3 months, a year and 4 months. I very rarely look at my statistics, but I had a look because it looked like it had gone up, and when I was in the back end in the studio area, just tinkering with some video information on the back end, and I was like, oh, that looks like that's gone up, and it tells you how many you've gone. I never check it, and I was like, that's sort of wavered as it was looks about the same it was January last year from what I remember, because I remember Simon at the Hermit's Cave saying, oh, you're almost at 4,000 followers January last year. And I was like, oh, am I don't ever look at my numbers. And I think part of that is I've never done this channel to build it in a particular direction or for a particular reason. And the other thing I think is just if I don't look, it's less scary, because I have noticed that the higher the subscriber count goes up, the more anxious I was getting, because like, oh, there's more people watching, and, you know, there is that idea of like, what am I putting out there? What is the point of what I'm doing? Am I just sort of doing that like ego stroking and being sort of a bit narcissistic and just, you know, like, because I do this going live, going, oh, I want to go live and talk to my friends online, you know. So it's like trying to question the motivation. But really, I think at the beginning it was, that looks fun, and I feel like because I've come to overthink stuff so much, you know, it's become maybe less fun, or people have come to expect a certain thing from me, and I haven't always felt able to do that because I've not been well, or I've just not had the energy, or not been in the right mindset, not been in the right sort of mentally in that place. And it's funny because people that have been watching my channel from the beginning are always like, you're such a social justice warrior, you've always had your rants about certain things. And I have, but I don't think I've really ever made many specific videos about certain topics. It's just peppered in throughout all of my videos, or most of my videos, because it's just a part of my life and the way that I think and the way that I do things and the way that I sort of live my life. So it's interesting. So it's like, I feel like because people see that side of me, part of me thinks maybe people are expecting more sort of specific content in that direction sometimes. I don't know. I don't know what people want or expect. Maybe I should put a shout out on my community community feed saying, you know, what would you like to see from me? I think I did that a couple of years ago, and I did write a bunch of the suggestions down. And can I find that list anywhere? And I can't remember what video it was on. I'll have to see if I did a specific shout out video for that. But yeah, that's the thing, Diane. Don't question the motivation, just have fun. And that's the thing. When I wasn't questioning it, when I was just doing it for the fun, you know, I was putting content out. But I do also think there's merit to questioning what you're doing as a content creator, because I want to be conscious of, you know, what I'm speaking on, and or what I'm speaking about, or what issues I'm speaking to, and making sure that I am not speaking out of place, making sure that I'm not sort of elevating my own voice on certain issues when there are other people in the community that we should be listening to, that kind of thing. I don't always get it right. I've definitely fucked up in the past, but we always trying to do better. I'm definitely not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but I always try to own my shit, and I always try to do better going forward. But yeah, I think for doing these lives, and maybe trying to do some tags over the next few weeks, just to get that joy back, and then I'll get that confidence back, and then I'll start to find my feet again. And it was something I'd said, I think, before Christmas. I was like, or maybe last autumn, I was like, I'm going to start doing tags again and some more lives. And then just my health gradually, like more and more health issues were popping up, and there was a lot of stuff going on with COVID personally, with family members being very unwell. We had some bereavements. It was a lot, and I just, again, wasn't in that headspace. So I put it out there, and as soon as I put it out there, everything was like, well, I don't really feel like doing it, or I can't just get my head in that space. And I know I think there's two types of people. There's people who will just do it because it helps distract them, and then there's people who can't do it because they can't, it won't distract them. Their mind will be pulling back to what's bothering them. I need to be mindful to drink my tea before it goes cold. I'm just going to have a quick look through the comments, and then what I'll do is I will start to talk about the things that are in the title of the video. So let's see. So a boombox, says Diane. Yeah, do you remember those? Are they still a thing? I always tend to think I should be working on spirit, and I forget fun all the time. This is the thing, working on spirit stuff is fun. Like, there are times when I sit down at my altar and I do my offerings to spirit allies and to ancestors, and it feels very reverential, or it feels very somber depending on the day or the situation or the event. Like, it's usually a bit more somber if if there's someone has passed, or or I'm remembering someone, the death day or the birthday of someone who's passed. But a lot of the time, for me, that's why I really like this book, this Psychic Witch one, and 6 Ways. I'll just get up here, because it encourages that doing and that play. And that's why I always say witchcraft is a craft. It is a doing. It is a verb. It is a doing thing, right? So I've spoken about this book. It's getting very dogged. Like the poor thing is all, there's like tea stains in it. It's highlighted to hell and back. I've got loads of tabs. The back's all scuffed. The cover is scratched. There's literally a massive bend. Can you see that crease in the front cover? But it's loads of exercises, and I've had this book for 2 and a bit years now, and I've been working with it on and off for that entire time, and going through and weaving back round and rereading and dipping in and out. There's a bit here that I've got tagged, which is, where is it? Doo-ba-doo, Dow breath, watchtower, moving the self-raiser. Oh, offerings. So there, for example, there's a bit about lost my place again, about offerings. And Aidan gives examples of what you could say. And it's all about keeping it playful and keeping it very intuitive. Unlike someone maybe like Jason Miller, or people that follow a more sort of structured, sort of maybe people that are into like Thelema, or the Greek magical papyri and stuff like that. It's a bit more sort of structured and ceremonial, and that's not really my thing. This is definitely, he calls it, Aidan Wachter calls his approach earth sorcery or dirt sorcery, because it's like down in the dirt, but it's not rooted in any tradition. It's rooted in sort of finding your own way, and he gives you these really bare bones exercises to do, and then you build on that, but it's all based in this play and joy. And I think if you're interested, I definitely recommend this book, and I also recommend listening to Aidan Wachter in interviews. He's done loads of podcast interviews on various podcasts. I think he's been on New World Witchery. I think he's been on Glitch Bottle. He's been on Rune Soup. He's been on Down at the Crossroads. I think he's been on Modern Witch. He's been on loads of the like main witchcraft. I think Chow Wen Wu has interviewed him a couple of times. Really, really interesting guy. And then Matt Ulrin's Psychic Witch, which incidentally, I hadn't realised that originally that Aidan had recommended this. This has only been out a year. And again, it's about doing, I'm actually in the middle of listening to an interview that Chow Wen Wu has been doing. Is it Wu or Kwu? Hang on. Let me just check because I've just been listening to it and I always get her name wrong. Chow Wen, Witches and Wine is her channel. There's her channel. Let me see if I can find her about section. I always get her name wrong. Chow Wen Kwu, not Wu. Beg your pardon. That's my bad. But yeah, she's got an interview with Matt Ulrin because the last year he's been doing loads of interviews because he's been promoting this book, and yeah, it's really, really good, and it's just about that element of play, and that really helped. This book was a real revelation. It just really helped me sort of tear everything down and start again. And that's why I'm also really excited about Kellyanne Maddox's book, because it's about forging your own way. But I think she'll be coming from a very witchy perspective, whereas Aidan, there's no framework. There's no not dogma. There's no particular framework that it hangs off. There's no particular tradition that it hangs off. And I know that Kellyanne's probably won't as well. It'll have more of a witchy bent. So yeah, wow, that was a bit of a squirrel hunt again. I don't want to call it a squirrel hunt, a squirrel chase. Chasing a squirrel so I can catch up to it and feed it snacks and give it a tummy rub. Not actually hunting. So yeah. What was I saying? I was going to have a look at the comments. That was it. Hi all. Hi Ishi. Go with your flow and what you're instinctive drawn to, Kelly. People are also drawn to you because you are you. Oh, thank you. I do sort of find that a bit like, because I waffle on an awful lot about an awful lot of nonsense, I think, a lot of the time. Good morning, Leanne. Lovely to see you. Slipping in whilst you're working again. Ooh, sticky. So let's see. Don't question the motivation, just have fun. If you ask us what we want, we will all say different answers. That's true, right? You did one I requested. It was your top 5 a year later. That's true. I did do that one. I did. I think I don't know what I've done with the list though of all the other ones. My videos are relatable to you. Oh, thank you. Deck mods. See, because I'm not really buying decks anymore, I won't be doing deck mods. Deck mods. There are 2 things that I will be doing over on my art channel though, which I will show you. I'm hoping to do them do this one, or at least do it it'll probably be maybe done in sections depending on how much video footage I have and how boring or interesting it is for people. But I've got this cheap tarot deck. I had an original version of this that I modded, and then Simon at the Hermit's Cave was like, that's amazing, I want you to do that for me. And I was like, okay. But it was a lot of work and I kept putting it off. And in the end, I sent him my original copy that I'd modified. And then I was like, well, I can use this one. And when I start my art channel, I will modify this one on camera. Now, I would like to get this done out by the end of the month, but part of me is also like, I do think maybe having the proper video camera that I'm hoping to buy soon will, like, maybe it's worth waiting a tiny bit longer so that it's of like more quality visual for you all to see what I'm doing. This did have huge, awful, like uneven borders on it, but no, actually they weren't that uneven because the backs are lovely. But I was I remember I was sitting down one day watching a YouTube video and I really felt like trimming a deck. And I was like, oh, really, I should trim this on the tutorial video. But there are so many tutorials about trimming a deck. I thought, well, it'll be fine if I just trim this. I just had the hankering for trimming. So that all that is to say is that there will be a modification of making this look really old. I did share this on one of my deck mod videos a few years ago. And I sanded it. I sprayed it in ink and tea. I scrunched each card up and wore it down. I used gold paint to pick out little areas of it and just made it look like I wanted it to feel a bit like Childermass's deck in the TV adaptation of Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell. That's what inspired me. So keep an eye out for that. And the other thing I have is what I call my destroyed virtue. Now, about 3 years ago, I was gifted this deck for Christmas by a very sweet but and well-meaning family member. But me and DV, we are unmixy things. We are diametrically opposed. So I think most of you would have seen this deck. It's just a cheap, like, it's kind of sweet. It does make me think of my Irish granny because, she's Catholic. Well, there's all, but yeah, I think most of you have seen that, and it's got those like really super cheesy backs. And so I started. I've got them over here. This is from 3 years ago. This is how bad I am at like finishing projects. It's terrible. I started to trim them down to squares, and I started to. You do sort of art journal collaging on the backs of them. Can't remember if I've shown this on my channel. And then I would sort of, modify the fronts as well. So it looks really different to what it was before. And then what I started doing is so for example, this is meant to be the High Priestess. So I put like neon, you can't see this neon green paint. I put these black dots in. I wrote Mystic Bitch on it. And then on the back, I've got a little ticket. So I'm calling this a Tarorical, right? So then you've got, this is 2 because it's linked to the High Priestess. And yeah, so I started doing my own little tarot oracle. So it's one on, and on each side I've got acorns. So this is a project I've been meaning to finish since I started it in January 2018, I believe. And I do a little bit each year. I go through a phase of doing a bunch of them, and then I just put it away. And the thing is, out of sight, out of mind with me. It's like this object impermanence thing. So as soon as I put it in a corner somewhere where I can't see it, I forget it exists, and then I'll be clearing up or sorting something out, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is a thing. I'll get on that, and then I forget again. It's got a little hatchet, a little skull. You get the idea. There's a bunch of them. Ghosty, big girl pants, black lipstick. Anyone who knows me knows I'm a coffee cup. My reusable coffee cup. Donut. Anyway, you get the idea. So yeah, I do, but 78 cards is like a lot. So I get overwhelmed. There's that overwhelm, right? Like, oh my god, what have I done? What have I started? But I think I just need to do it. So what I'm thinking is, if I make it part of my art channel project, maybe once a month I'll have a working on the destroyed virtue or Tarorical. And I thought the really fun way to use this is you could shuffle it with all of the tarot images facing one way and use it as a tarot. Could shuffle it with all the oracle images facing the same way and use it as an oracle, or could sort of, as you're shuffling, turn stuff around and shuffle, turn stuff around, a bit like when you would shuffle in reversals, but you're literally reversing the actual side of the deck that you're using, and then use it as a Tarorical. So you've got like big girl's pants alongside, temperance, for example. I just like the kitschiness of it. So yeah, that was one of the other projects. So that's a couple of things that will be deck moddy type stuff, but and tarot related, but not on this channel, just because I feel it's so much more driven to what I'm doing on the other one, which is sort of creative, arty stuff. Anyway, so wow, another squirrel chase. Can I stay on point? No. It's a problem, folks. Let's have a look. Deck mods, journal peaks. So the journal peaks, flower headdresses, that kind of thing. That's all going to be on the other side, the other channel. So this channel will be tarot, witchcraft, herbalism, and that kind of thing. The other channel is journaling, art journaling, deck mods, and studio vlogs, deck pout, like, you know, vlogging me running my Etsy shop, that kind of thing. So 5 a.m. Kathy, holy hell balls, that is early. Let's see, I love that book, Kelly. I have it and need to get back to it. Which one, Marcia? 6 Ways or Psychic Witch? Hello Elaine, lovely to see you again. I love your waffle on. I do waffle on though, don't I? Kim Moon, hello lovely. I bet we're all wafflers here. Yeah. Or maybe we are. We all like a good waffle. I think I get self-conscious because my mum would sometimes. I was a very shy child, but if I felt comfortable or like I wasn't, like, I would, especially as I got a little bit older, my mum would say to me, "Oh God, Kel, you can half talk. Talk for England," and it made me feel very self-conscious, especially if I've had caffeine. I'm like motor mouth. Marcia says, I trimmed my magical forest tarot because of you and I loved it. I also did my Japaridza tarot because of Simon. I love my little trimmed magical forest. I don't use it as much lately because I am more of a pip girl these days. Tarot and astrology with Pomona. Good morning, Kelly Bear and all cubs. Oh my God, that's so funny. Kelly Bear and the cubs. Yeah, lovely to have you. I just used my Japaridza last night. That is funny. Oh, we're just unthingy Kathy's thing about the mystic bitch. That's fine. Taroracle. Yeah, I didn't coin that term. The first time I heard that was on Tom Benjamin's channel, because I think he was talking about either the dreams of Gaia or maybe the Osho Zen being a bit of a taroracle. And I think he actually did a video about tarot decks that he feels are more like a taroracle. I think it's a few years old, but that's where that phrase came from, that word came from. What book do you have for candle magic? It is this one. I was reading it last night finally. Candle Magic, the Book of Candle Magic by Madame Pamita. There's also one by Devon Hunter, which is quite a recent release, and then there's another one that looks quite good, which has got a yellow cover. But this one, I mean, Matt Oren, who wrote that book, I think he wrote a recommendation for this. Orion Foxwood, who wrote, like, loads of people. Melissa Sinova of Kitchen Table Tarot, she highlights this. Naja Lightfoot, who wrote Good Juju, which is on my to read list. Loads of Gabriella Herstick. These are all people that I follow over on Twitter. Jason Mankey, Storm Fairy Wolf, Christopher Penzak, Teresa Reed, Matt Oren, loads of people bigging up this book, and honestly really truly deserved. I used to have Scott Cunningham's, was it Scott Cunningham or Raymond Buckland's Candle Magic? I know they did a couple of books together, and I'd looked at candle magic books in other esoteric and witchy bookstores over the years, mostly in the early noughties, but there wasn't that much about. This is like, it's very straightforward. It's very empowering about, again, that play and what's intuitive to you. And it helps you keep it as simple or as elaborate as you like. And it shows you how to build on, it starts off with what kind of candle you use, and then you just build from there. What words do you use? What colors, numbers, timings, all sorts of stuff. But it's really straightforward. And I really like it. So don't agree with 100% of everything in it, but it's really, I really rate it. Oh, Psychic Witch, Marsha, was it you who was saying that you've been working through it very slowly, or was that Van Mar, who's just turned up as well? Hello, Van Mar, lovely to see you to the procrastination stream. This is a slightly less procrastination stream because I've actually have been doing stuff. There's my studio in a box. I've been photographing a bunch of let's just grab some of them. But these are some of the pouches that I've photographed. Oh no, tarot's sliding everywhere. I was using the Wild Unknown in a couple of the decks because I obviously have to put a deck in it to take the pictures. But yeah, I wanted to just make sure I'm up to date. I think I'm up to date with all the I'm going to have to peep that book now. Butterfly Love Child, lovely to see you. Yeah, it's really good. So let me just try and get some more tea. But yeah, I want to talk about blending your own incense. And the reason this popped into my head was because I, for years, used either stick incense, cone incense, or loose incense on charcoal, the little charcoal bricks. But the thing with the charcoal bricks is obviously you have to wait for them to go white like you would with to get the most out of them like you would with a barbecue. But also I found that whatever like loose incense I put on there, hello Rona, lovely to see you, I found that it would burn up really quickly and I was having to top it up. So if you're in the middle of a ritual or a ceremony or some kind of spell work or an offering and you're like having to like keep topping it up, I don't know, maybe I've just never been able to use it properly, but it was driving me bonkers. Anyway, a few years ago, me and Simon Harrison went to what ended up being the very last Pagan Pride event in Nottingham. And he bought an incense burner, which, it was one of these where you've got the candle in the bottom and you've got the mesh screen at the top. And that way you put your incense on there and it's not directly on any heat and it sort of heats it that way instead. So you're not burning it, you're sort of warming it through. I found that actually oh, there's my phone. Oh, hello. Hello. Oh, wonderful. Yes. Excellent. I've got them aside for you. So that's great. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye. That wasn't the vet saying that Nomi's meds are ready to be picked up. Her little meds for her whatchamacallit, her idiopathic epilepsy. So I'm just going to text my husband downstairs and say Nomi's meds are ready to be collected. Sorry, that was a bit of real life interrupting. Just got a call from the vet. Nomi's meds are ready. Will need to return. Other currently on a live. Sorry. Whoop. Okay. So bit of real life there. Typical, eh? But I couldn't not take it because it can sometimes be hard to get through to the vets because they've been so busy. And it's amazing that they've actually managed to call me this time. I've been having to chase them quite a bit for stuff. So let me see what were they saying. That you have a progress in photographing your core pouches. I'm procrastinating with this. I enjoy inspiring input in that fun and friendly way of yours. Lightens my mood. Oh, thank you. Do you know what? It's really funny because sometimes I procrastinate by watching other artists. There's an artist called Roxanne Coble. Her channel's called By Bun. There's another one called Lee Ellickson, and her channel name is just her name. There's Cheyenne Barton. There's a whole bunch of them, and I love watching their studio vlogs, and it's one of my favorite things to do in the morning if I'm up quite early and I'm sitting having breakfast and a cup of tea. And it feels a little bit like procrastinating, but actually once I've watched one or two of them, I feel really motivated and inspired, and then I actually go and do stuff. So I'm like, oh, actually sometimes it feels like you're not doing anything, but if you're filling up your inspiration well, oh my god, did I just say that? Filling up your inspiration well. Where the fuck did that come from? You know, it helps, right? So I'm glad that I can do that for some other people. I usually get charcoal discs wrong because I never wait till they're white. They just burn out too quickly. Yeah, no, you have to wait till they're white. Yeah, it's really annoying. Oh my god, there's a little cauldron one. Yeah, it was the only one that I searched on Etsy for UK based sellers, and I didn't know exactly what to search, what the search term was, but I searched for bloody ages one particular week last autumn, and I managed to find this particular one. There was only one in stock, and I nabbed it because it's black, it's got a pentacle on it, and it's like a little cauldron shape. I'm like, yes, I will have that. And it was like a tenner, I don't know, not even. Replenishing your inspiration well, yeah. Ellie, hello, Ellie. I have that incense burner. Oh, you do? Cool. Are you in the UK? Did you find it from a UK Etsy shop? What, smell horrible? I do not. What's that? Well, there's a little cauldron one. I've been rigging up my own version from random parts around the house. That works too, though, Butterfly. I do the same. Plus, I do not like the smell of the charcoal disc. Yeah, I don't. It makes me feel like I'm having a mini barbecue in my house, which is gross. But anyway, squirrels. Oh, you're in the Netherlands. Oh, okay. Hello from the Netherlands. Me say hello from the Netherlands. Hello to the Netherlands. Oh my god. Have I finished my tea? No, I don't know. So disappointing. I had 11s and we had no biscuits left or cake or anything to have with 11s. It's just not the same if you don't have a little something to nibble with it, or like a snack bar. It's my own fault because I had a snack bar yesterday and it was the last one. I was on a real like snackathon yesterday, and I was just like, I need all the snacks. And as I was eating the snack bar, I was like, I should have been saving this for tomorrow morning. And I was like, but I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. And I got to the bridge and I was like, I do not like this. I wish I'd just bloody saved that snack bar. But yeah, so the reason I was like, oh, I could talk about making your own incense is because I put a little foil thing in. I know that Simon was doing that, and it just means that if there's any like really tiny bits of substance, tiny bits of, you know, plant or whatever, it can like fall through. And also I like to burn resins as well, and I find that they can bubble and melt and then drip through. So having the little circle foil, all I did was I just drew this around a piece of foil and stuck that. And actually, because it's got loads of resin in it, you can see it sort of melts into a clump because of all the resin. And that's because there's a particular resin I really, really like, and it's benzoin. And I think I've spoken about it before. This smells really sweet, like vanilla. It's so good. It's like putting your nose in a box of sweets. It's so good. It's so good. But yeah, so there's a lot of that in there. And so what happens is, as the sort of woody, planty pieces of my incense sort of burn away throughout throughout each day when I'm doing my offerings or whatever I'm using it for, I add more and more benzoin to it, and so eventually it just becomes one big vanilla-y benzoin, clump. And there's still a little bit of life left in this. There's still a bit to burn away, obviously, but I wanted to make some more because it is almost at this point just benzoin. So I guess you could class it as a vanilla incense. We'll have to catch up later. I'm off to make lunch. Fun chatting with you all. Bye, Elaine. Good idea. I have resins as well. Should start using them. Yes, use your resins. What was the name of the incense? Are you talking about the resin? Just benzoin. I've got some dragon's blood over there as well. And I've got some what have I got here? I've got some incense that Simon gifted me, which was the cathedral incense, which is its own blend, which is a lot of resins. What other resins have I got? So yeah, I've got some dragon's blood, and then I've got, what have I got in here? I've not used this for a while. We've got some frankincense, of course. This is I got from Watkins Books. So I've got some frankincense, which is kind of a staple, isn't it, really? She says, having not used it for about a year, because I have this particular blend that I love, and I've taken to calling it, I was calling it my spicy incense, but that's a rubbish name. I've taken to calling it my chai incense because it's pretty much the same things that I put into chai tea when I make chai tea, like from scratch. So we've got some star anise. We've got some cardamom pods. We've got some cloves. I just reuse old jam jars and stuff for this. Nothing fancy. I use what I've got. Got some cinnamon bark. Oh my god, it smells so good. It just already smells like a. But then I have to have the benzoin for that vanilla-iness. I've also got some other bits and pieces, but it depends on what mood I'm in. So these are the main. These are like these 5 things are the main things that I use. What deck was that cheapy angel deck? That was the Guardian Angel Tarot cards by Doreen Virtue and what's his name again? Raleigh Valentine. Although Doreen Virtue has had her name removed from any subsequent printings because she's gone like hardcore, like born again Christian, and like quite frankly, in my opinion, lost the fucking plot and got an incredibly judgy. I never liked her to begin with. I think she's been very problematic for a very long time. All this like love and light bullshit. Anyway, so I've not got any resins. I'll have a look into those. Yeah, I just find that if you've got just plant materials, or so that there's a couple of different things. Let me just. This is becoming a a little bit of a lesson in a way. So I find that if you're really stuck with where to start with incenses, I think a good thing to think about is the kind of things you like the smell of. Because a lot of people will say, well, what are you using it for, right? Are you using it for a spell, for a specific intention? Is it just for your daily sitting down at your altar and doing a card draw? Is it actually for offerings to your ancestors or your spirit allies? What is it for, right? So I would say don't worry about that. It can be a bit overwhelming because you're like, well, if I'm doing a love spell, then I'm going to want some rose petals. You might even want some benzoin because of that vanilla-y smell that just we associate with things like chocolate and stuff like that. You know that, and you know, there are correspondences, but sometimes I feel taking that more intuitive approach is helpful. So what I would say is go with what you like the smell of and maybe pick up a book. Now, I used to have, was it Raymond Buckland's or Scott Cunningham's, one of the two, or I can't remember if it was a joint venture, Incense, Oils and Brews. I don't know what happened to that. I think I might have gotten rid of it because I found it very like, I don't know. I went through a real like hardcore atheist phase where I was just being, you know, like the dickhead atheists, like in the late noughties, early 10s. Yeah, I was one of them. And I just got rid of so much stuff because I was like, oh, this is all silly. But a lot of, you know, pagan or witchy or spell books will have recipes for incense blends. So I was just seeing what I could grab for you. So one way is picking the kind of thing that you like the smell of. The other thing is getting a book on incenses and just trying. And I'd say the same for tea blending. I spoke about this a couple of years ago about healing teas, and there's blends in here, but then they also talk about the different qualities of the teas, the herbs, and you could also build your own. But sometimes it helps to start with a recipe book. Like if you're learning to bake or if you're learning to cook, having a recipe really helps. So when I first started cooking when I was younger, I relied a lot on cooking books and baking books. I know loads of my like muffin recipes and brownie recipes and cookie recipes, pancakes, waffles. I know them all off the top of my head, and I've put my own spin on them because I've been doing them for so many years. But that takes time and practice. So starting with a book, just one book, you don't have to go bonkers and stress yourself out with buying 10 million books, because we know we all love a book, right? So we do that with tarot sometimes. We pick 10 decks and 20 books, and then you go, oh shit. What you really need is one deck, one workbook, and one tarot meanings book. Those are what I think you need to start learning the tarot, and a journal, obviously. And then, you know, just get the one, and you just pick something that sounds like you would like it. And whether it's tea or whether it's incense, you'll usually get an idea of whether you like it, because you usually know what a lot of things smell like or what a lot of things taste like. And if you don't, you can just Google it and say, what kind of notes, what does this smell similar to? What does this taste similar to? Or what are the flavors of this particular herb? Is it a bitter? Is it quite sweet? That kind of thing. And you can work, well, I'm going to make quite a sweet tea. I want to do a self-love spell, and I'm going to pick lots of sweet things. And don't worry so much if it's the associations of for love. If that's what calls to you, just like use them. And you'll find books that will have recipes for specific types of magic tea. So this is a tea. This is a very much a medicinal healing tea. This isn't a magical tea, though I do think sometimes they can be one and the same thing. Whereas there'll be books that come at it from a more magical perspective. I'm really sort of going down a lot of rabbit holes here. I can't seem to sort of get my threads together and sort of stick to what I'm doing. But I was just going to see if I could find like a book that's got incense burns off the top of my head. What are we going into? We're going into Ostera. Okay. So let's see. Has this got recipes? Scallops, crafts. Just trying to see. Prayers and invocations, rituals, correspondences, God's herbs. No, I can't. This is the problem, because I am so like have my own thing going on now. I'm like, I don't even know what books, but yeah, you know what I mean. There'll be certain spell books that have incense recipes in, or you can actually get books dedicated to just incenses. So does that make sense? I'm just going to have a quick look. I have resins as well. Should start using them. What was the name of the incense? I called it chai incense. It's just a name I gave it. You enjoy my rabbit holes. I'm glad that some people do, because I get really frustrated with myself. Chai incense. I'm getting to a lot of witchy books on my Kindle now. I've got so many in my bookcase. Safe space. I love chai tea. Me too. Yeah, I've definitely, when it comes to reference books, I can't do digital books. I definitely need to like have it in my hands. I need to highlight. I don't know. I've tried and not been successful. So definitely a physical book person. So anyway, that was it. I was going to talk about there's different things that you can put into an incense. So you got your sort of green things, your actual like leaves. So in here I've got some rosemary needles, like rosemary leaves. Smells so good. And then in here I've got some lavender flowers, little lavender flower heads. Those little, I love the smell. It's one of my other favorite smells is lavender. So they're going to burn really quickly, right? Because they're like very lightweight, dry plant material. Then you've got like your stalks and your barks and your like woody kind of stuff. So a really good example of that would be your cinnamon bark, right? It's really, really woody. And things like seed pods and things. So like star anise is really woody, even though I believe it's a seed. And cardamom pods, again, pods. What is a pob? Oh, pob is that little character from the 80s and 90s, that weird little clown dude that Michael Gove looks like with the stripy yellow and pink top. Cardamom pods, which again are seeds, but they're more woody and dry, so they'll burn a little bit more slowly. Especially like I find the cinnamon bark burns a little more slowly. And then you've got things like resins, which again will burn much more slowly, and they can sort of melt and go all gooey and sticky. It depends on the resin as well, just quite how they react to the heat. But I really ever since getting this, I'm like, I don't think I could ever go back to traditional types of incense. I think I could possibly go with cones, but I find that this doesn't produce all the smoke. You can see like a little bit of a heat haze coming off of it, and I still recommend that you would open a window so that you're not sort of inhaling loads of fumes, and being very careful about what you're burning with regards to pets being around, a bit like with oil diffusion. And if you're still worried about, like, I will never leave this unattended. I will always blow this candle out when I leave the room. If you want to keep an incense burning, but you don't want to leave the flame, and obviously you really shouldn't, I would say you could get the electric ones. You actually do get electric incense burners, which I think you can also use for wax melts. So there's an electric version as well. So you've got options without having to go with discs or cones. You know, cones and small incense sticks are really good for very specific, like quick offerings and things, I think, or if you just want to like get a nice smell through the room. But I really don't like the smoke, and my husband has asthma, and I find that I don't want it to like affect my dog. So I this was really great getting this. So when I make this incense, I've just got like a pestle and a mortar, and not pestle and a mortar, wrong way around. And I don't measure anything out. Hello, Sam. I haven't seen you for a while. Lovely to see you. I don't particularly measure anything out. I just go for it. So I might just put in a couple of pieces of, cinnamon bark. Can't seem to get it closed. I'll put in a couple of star anise, maybe. In they go. And again, like I said, just old jam jars. Some of them I haven't even been able to get the labels off as capers. It's not capers, it's rosemary. But once you stick, if you can tell by looking and if at a push sniffing what's in there. Sometimes I use my little Posca chalk sort of paint pens to write on top of the lid, so I know what's in there. I'll put in some cardamom pods, or pobs as I was calling them a minute ago. Some cloves. Oh my god, it literally does smell like clove tea. Oh, sorry to hear you've been unwell, Sam. Sending you love. Hope you feel better soon. And then the pièce de résistance, and the thing that's interesting, Diane. Do all resins smell chemically to you? Or just some? Because I find this just smells like sweet, sweet vanilla goodness. So because this resin is quite soft and breaks down really easily, I put this in towards the end. So literally all I do is this is funny though, because sometimes the stuff pings out and bounces around. There we go. There we go. I called it right. So I try to I tend to hold it to me. I've got a really amazing proper molcajete sort of pestle and mortar made out of volcanic rock and a big stone thing, but that's my like kitchen one, which is for like my guacamole and like all my like pastes, like my chipotle paste and stuff like that, so that I don't mix your kitchen pestle and mortar or molcajete with your incensey witchy stuff, please. That's why I have two separate ones. Just FYI. My other one, my kitchen one, is a lot bigger as well. It's a real like hefty boy. It's a proper hardcore one. So then I just start just breaking it down. Another bit pinged out. That just a little star anise bounced out. If anyone knows how to blend herbs and incenses without them bouncing everywhere, let me know, because I've been doing this on and off for 20 years and I've never worked it out. It's a bit like, when you blend batter in an electric mixer, freestanding mixer, and they have the splatter guard, right, for a reason. But, these don't come with splatter guards. And yeah, just sort of break it down. And sometimes I'll break it down into really small bits, and sometimes I'll do slightly bigger. But as you can see, I just chucked in no particular order. Obviously, if you're going from a book recipe, they're going to give you specific amounts. Although, when they go 2 parts this and 1 part that, I hate that because my brain can't work out the parts thing. This tea book does that, but she shows you how to work out the parts, which was, thank goodness, because otherwise I would have been, what? So I'm just breaking it down. You want to get those cardamom pobs. Why do I keep calling them pobs? Cardamom pods, nice and sort of broken open. You want those star anise broken open because you want to release all those lovely smells. I know I think some people add essential oils to their incense blends. I've never done that. I've never felt safe doing that. I don't know if that's a good idea. If anyone else knows different, let me know. I've always just sort of gone with, there we go. So there we go. Okay, so it's sort of It's not going to show very well. Woo! We've got a nice loose mix there. Could probably go a little bit finer. And once you get to a certain point, the stuff stops bouncing out because it's small enough to sort of be ground down. So you notice I've not got any leaves in here. It's all just sort of woods and seeds, barks and seeds. And then once that's gotten small enough, I'll add a little bit of the benzoin into there. Oh, there's literally a pebble in with the benzoin. A few pieces because I do really like the vanilla-y smell of it. And then I don't break this too much. I just sort of squish it a little bit. Animist Miss, can't wait to try this. Hello, Heather. Lovely to see you. Can you use a coffee grinder? I think you can. I think I've seen people say they use, but again, I wouldn't mix. I wouldn't blend incense and then use it to make coffee, especially if you're putting resins in there. Oh my God. Because obviously some things are not going to be safe to ingest. I really wouldn't recommend ingesting benzoin resin. And yeah, so just sort of poke it down a little bit. And I don't grind that down too small, the benzoin. I like it when it melts and makes bubbles on the top of my my burner, and then I just put it in a jar. Oh, did I not bring up the jar? I had a jar. What did I do with it? I've got one over there I could use. I've also got these like little jam jars that came with the afternoon tea, cream tea set that was sent to me and my husband for his birthday a couple of weeks ago. And I was like, yoink, having those. Look how cute. These are perfect for small like incense blends and stuff. I've got another jar. I have so many jars. I have jars in the attic. I have jars in the bottom cupboard in my kitchen. I have, jars on my altar storage. And then because it's got a little doobly spout, as it were, in it goes. Oh no, this was the jar I was using. I just realised this was the jar that I'd been storing it in. It had all run out. So, yeah, there we go. And you don't need much. A little goes a long way, especially with these. It literally smells like chai tea. Oh my God. So yeah, that's my chai tea incense. Yeah, have fun with it. Have fun with it. Be interested to know if anyone does end up having a play with that. But yeah, and then as I put that on there, and as the woody stuff sort of burns away, like I said, I start to add more and more benzoin, and that's why we end up with the big sticky benzoin mess in the end. But it smells so good. You did not know you have an altar? Yeah, I've had an altar for many years. My tarot trolley. I didn't. There was a time when I went in my late 20s and very early 30s, where maybe like 30, 31, where I didn't have an altar. And then again for the last longest time I have had one. It started off as tarot storage and just sort of went from there. And it is my altar. I wonder if I could. I don't know if I could really. I don't really show my altar because it's very personal, but it's very, very simple. Move this stuff out of the way. All this stuff. So if I try and show you, I have my cauldron, which I found at Camden Market back in 1998, 1999. It sits on a wooden pentacle. I've got my little tray with my Tarot del Toro in, so whatever deck that I'm using the most goes on there. I have my Tibetan singing bowl, which is an F for the heart chakra, apparently. I don't really do chakra stuff because I feel to take it outside of the context of Hinduism and yoga and Ayurveda is a little appropriate. And then I've got my moon phases, which actually I should be switching up. I made these little moon cards several years ago so that I can always keep track of the phases. And I've got a little crystal that Simon at the Hermit's Cave gave me. And I put that on top literally to stop them blowing away when the window's open and it's a bit breezy. I've got a chunk of amethyst just to represent earth. I've got the water, the air, the smoke, the incense, and the fire with the candle. So you've got earth, air, fire, water. So all the elements are represented, but also the incense burner and the water and the candle all act as also my offerings each day. So in 6 ways, there's a little saying that there's like a little phrase, not a phrase, like a little paragraph that he says you could start off with to help you get started. And he says to just keep it really simple, just keep it, an offering of water. And as if you feel like you're getting communications from your guides, that they might let you know what they want, and you can then adjust accordingly. But Aidan Walker, I know he keeps it super simple. He will offer coffee or water, and sometimes he puts like hard candied sweets out and leave them for several days. I tend to just use water, and I don't really do food offerings, just because we do have a problem with sometimes, because there's a food place. I live above a shop, and the next shop along is a food place, and I don't want to end up with vermin, so I have to be very careful with the food stuff. So yeah, what kind of burner do you use for your incenses, Heather? Oh yeah, sorry, you weren't here before. I've been using for the last 6 months, it's game changer, is just the candle warming one with the mesh. Ooh, with the mesh in the top, but I put foil so loads of small stuff or resins don't melt and drop through, because if you've got dry sort of woody leafy stuff falling onto a candle, that's a fire hazard, and if the resin's dripping down through the mesh, it's going to make a big old mess, and could potentially, if a big glob of it fell through, it's just going to put the candle out, isn't it? So yeah, I'd hand work the resins separately. They get sticky when warmed, and it's a beast to clean anything it's touched. Oh, that's okay. Like this is messy, but once I scrub this out, I've never had a problem with it sticking. I don't know, but yeah. The resin, you mean in the grinder? So you're talking about using a grinder. I beg your pardon. Yes, good plan. I did not have water, jars everywhere. I can't seem to be able to. Oh my god, I literally put, when was it? Monday? No, yesterday. No, Sunday night, because the recycling was going out yesterday. I have got loads of really big jars that we get loads of olives in, and like big pickles, long spears of like dill pickles and stuff, and the jars are huge. They're like taller than these ones. They're like this, and I'm loath to get rid of them, but I have so many of them and like nowhere to keep putting them, so I did have to have a bit of a cull. It hurt me in my heart, but it had to be done. I put Southern Comfort for the Morrigan. Nice, I like it. That's interesting, considering the Morrigan is where she's from, Rain's from. I can imagine her liking a bit of Southern Comfort though. I've not seen that type. Thanks. You can also get electric ones, Heather, if you're worried about candles and fire hazards and things like that, or if you've got pets. If a cat swishes their tail near a flame, it's a whole thing. Bum, bum, bum. I wish we could order a proper cream tea delivered here in North Carolina. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of like vegan bakeries and vegan cafes that are offering it, especially at the moment because of lockdown. So yeah, they're not having sittings, so you can order them in. So yeah, and then the other thing is I am hitting an hour now, and I didn't want to go too long. I'm probably going to end up being about the same time as yesterday. I was just talking to a friend on Glide about using herbs to help with well-being and assist with chronic illnesses and stuff like that, and certain herbs you can take for certain things. And I was saying how like it still blows my mind that in the UK, marijuana, weed is illegal, because first of all, the government's really silly, because that's a revenue that they're not tapping, and also it just makes it safer and more reliable for people to use safely, right? So it just makes sense that you're going to be able to control it a bit more. What's the strength, what's the strain? It's not going to be grown in any dubious ways. Hopefully there's no sort of harm or exploitation coming along with that, so I just think it's bizarre that a plant is illegal. Like, we as humans, not we personally, but just human beings, looked at that plant and was like, you, as a fellow human being on this planet, are not allowed to eat this particular piece of nature that grows naturally upon this planet. No, you are not allowed. It is naughty because it makes your brain do interesting and weird things, and it's dangerous. And I'm like, bitch, like, alcohol and cigarettes causes so much more harm, costs the health sector so much more money, and has like killed way more people than weed. Yes, there are problems with long-term use or chronic, like continual use, but you know what? Too much of anything is bad for you. If you drink too much water, you will actually die. And I don't mean drowning. I mean, if you drank too much water, you could kill yourself. But water is not illegal. And there's certain states in the US where it is legal. I think California, I think Colorado. Is it in Oregon? I can't remember. But it's illegal for me to grow hemp in my garden in Tennessee. Like, it's bonkers, isn't it? Legalization is great. Look at what Philip Morris did to tobacco, though. Pros and cons. Yeah, it is I think it's the way to go, and I think it can go a long way to sort of destigmatizing people that use. I think, you know, that I follow a couple of people that are also about legalizing all drugs so that people can always get a safe, you know, a safe dose, a safe supply, and then get the help that they need without the stigmatization. Because obviously alcohol is not illegal, but it can wreck lives, right? So you can abuse anything. It's legal now for recreational purposes. Lulu Dark says, oh, hello Lulu, lovely to see you. So yeah, I would say legalize it, just legalize it. I know some people say, well, it should be legal, but just for medicinal purposes. But I'm like, just legalize it. Who cares if you want to smoke it for fun or if you're smoking it for pain relief? I've done it for both. Like, both are valid. I just find it so bizarre that, yeah, sugar and processed foods can be so much worse for you as well. Exactly. They use it as a gateway. Exactly. It isn't a gateway. Tobacco and alcohol are gateway to hard. It's not a gateway. It's ridiculous. And I'm surprised. It's just very there's just a lot of value judgments applied to it. But like, don't you think it's wild that human beings have seen a plant and they're like, you cannot have that? Same with like certain like fungi. Like, obviously mushrooms, some mushrooms are very poisonous. Obviously some plants are very poisonous. Really don't think you should go around trying to touch or eat Jimson weed or datura, whatever you want to call it. Very, very dangerous. Okay, you need it's good to know what your plants are. Same with the mushrooms. I got a couple of friends that actually will forage for mushrooms, but they know their shit. They know what to touch, what not to touch. They also know what will make you happy and give you a little trip and what won't. And it's just so funny that, like, I've read stories of like herds of deer going into being in woodlands or in pastures or wherever, fields, meadows, and eating up certain plants or certain fungi and then just be tripping balls. Like, that's a thing that animals do. They will like trip balls. But because they're animals, no one's telling them they can't eat those mushrooms or those plants. But as humans, they're like, no, you can't do that. But yet humans are more likely to be able to know, well, that's that kind of plant, and if I have this much of it, I can use it as an entheogen. But if I have too much, it's dangerous. Like, it just blows my mind. So here we are. Here you cannot forage. In most cases, it is a criminal offence called poaching. Do you know what? That's interesting, because I know that's the case in a lot of places. And it's interesting because I'm not sure what the situation is with foraging in the UK is. But I think it's, as long as you do it, you're not over harvesting, you're doing it sustainably, and you're being a little sort of low key about it, it's fine. But I've been on walks with my local herbalist, educational walks where they will talk about the plants and we'll like pick some of them. And over at my local PARK, I don't know if Nomi's up here, but I'm spelling it just in case. Every autumn, September, when all the blackberries, all the blackthorns are out in full bloom and growing, we're all up there harvesting them. Every autumn I'm up there, I'm getting rose hips and I'm getting hawthorn berries, you know, so no one's ever told me I shouldn't. Also, I know the people that take care of the park, so if I just said the word. Is Nobby up here or has she gone downstairs? Oh, she's fast asleep behind the thing. You know, I don't think they would really care anyway, because, you know, as long as you're doing it ethically, you're leaving enough for other people and you're leaving enough for the wildlife as well, because remember, obviously birds and other animals are going to want to eat those berries and things as well. So yeah. Oh, thank you, Lulu. There is less traffic since it's legal and we do know what we are getting. See, it makes so much more sense, doesn't it? Ethically harvesting. I knew what you meant though, Heather. It's the same with religious stuff though. It's like depending on how much influence your friends have as to how you can rule with what other grown people. Yeah, it's so, people just want power. It's very bizarre because I'm like, with great power comes great responsibility. And I just like, the anxiety for me that would come with that. You know, like when you see villains in films or cartoons and they're like, and then I will rule the universe. And I'm like, why? Why do you want to rule the universe? Effort, hard work, stress. Imagine being beholden to like I guess a lot of the time they want to be despots, right? But like still, why do you want to subjugate a whole bunch of people? What are you getting out of that? Like, I don't understand. I can't get my head around it. Very strange. So yeah, so right, we are at 1 hour and 10 minutes. So I've gone over. I did want to keep this under an hour, but look, I managed to actually talk about the things I was going to talk about. Not like yesterday where I wanted to talk about International Women's Day and then completely forgot. I kept going, what was I going to talk about? There was something. That was what it was. And I remembered after I switched off the live, I went downstairs with my empty mug and I was like, oh, that was what I'd forgotten to talk about. So I'm going to do a little card draw from the Affirmators, Love and Relationships. It's not something I usually do on one of my videos, is it? When do I ever do a draw? I'm like, let's just try something else. You know, let's just... And these ones are all about sort of self-love, but interpersonal relationships. It says love and relationships, but it doesn't put a name on that kind of relationship. It could be family, it could be friends, it can be intimate. So Nancy, hello. It's not worked out well for Boris. What's not worked out for Boris? Oh yeah, Boris Johnson. I mean, get me started on that fucking bellend. So yeah, let's just pull a card. A little bit of inspiration or encouragement or kindness, little something to keep in mind for the day. I just woke up, so I'm kind of still asleep, says Kristin Louise Tarot. Well, guten Morgen. Wie geht es Ihnen? I'm saying that in German. I didn't actually think you were German. I don't know why I did that in German. Lo siento. That was Spanish, sorry. What's not Entschuldigen? No. What's sorry in German now? I can't remember. Ich weiß es nicht. My memory is really bad. De nada. Ruling the world. Yeah, I don't think Boris actually wants to rule the country. He just wants to have the cachet of having been Prime Minister once he's done the job. Very badly, might I add. You are German. Oh, you are German, Vanmar. I apologize for my very, very rusty German. Entschuldigen. Guten Morgen. Wie geht's? So, wow, I'm shuffling for ages. I'm going to split the deck. Boundless love. Oh my god, it's like a little mole on walking stilts. Stilts. Yeah, walking stilts, because you can have houses on stilts. Oh, Nomi's off. She's like, I'm out of here, losers. Today I will open my eyes a little wider and walk a little taller, noticing that the world around me is filled with tiny miracles. With this in mind, it's easy to fall in love over and over again. with everything from honeybees to neon signs. I love neon signs. And while I'm feeling this inspired and this in love, everything else sort of falls into place. So that is nice. Pull the hot fireman card. The hot fireman card, is that in this deck? I've never seen that. So yeah, we've got boundless love. So I think that's more about noticing the small things, the little things, a little bit of gratitude. You know, again, I was the friend that I was talking to about weed. I was also talking about how, you know, I find sometimes I get so, when I feel I can get so bogged down, especially with, you know, there's a pandemic, which is a lot. We've, you know, with everything that's going on, whether it's health and the stuff that we need doing with the house and like just all sorts of stuff, it all just builds up. And it all gets very, very stressful, and it's all a lot. And it can become very easy to become very closed off and myopic and anxious. And it can be hard to claw out of that sometimes. But one way is to try to just think of little things that you're grateful for. And that you're like, I am lucky. I have a roof over my head at the moment. It might be a little bit leaky and, you know, stuff might be falling apart. But, you know, if it's raining, I'm dry. I have food in my cupboard. I have incredibly loving, supportive husband and friends. I have this, you know, channel which has put me in contact with so many amazing and interesting and very knowledgeable and quirky and fun people. You know, I've got like all sorts of things to be grateful for, and just trying to like bring that back in. And yeah, looking at the things, you know, like sometimes if I'm having a rough day, I find just the ritual of making a cup of tea. So filling the kettle, and this is almost like a mindfulness practice, but been doing it ever since I was a teenager, and I actually think it's almost like a witchy thing as well. And I saw James Feeney talking about doing something similar over on his channel, which I thought was quite fun, because obviously I didn't come up with this on my own, and there are other people doing it themselves independently all over the world, right? Which is really cool. So, you know, filling the kettle, putting it on the stove, putting the stove on. I have a stovetop whistling kettle because I have really bad memory issues and brain fog. So I need a kettle that screams to remind me that I've boiled the kettle. Whether I remember to then drink that tea is a whole other thing. But if I'm doing this particularly mindful thing, it really helps. I will remember to drink it. So then, you know, picking which mug I want to use, picking which tea I'm going to drink, especially if it's a herbal tea and it's for medicinal purposes. You know, putting the water in and like stirring it if it's a herbal tea. Putting a little lid on it while it steeps to hold all those volatile oils in to get the most out of the tea. And just sort of, if you're stirring sugar or milk into it, you know, stirring your attention. If you could do sort of clockwise if you want to bring something to you. You can do anti-clockwise if you want to take something away. You want something taken away from you, like a little piece of magic. You can put your hands, and I think I spoke about this in the Tarathon bit that I did a couple of years ago. Chat I did about herbalism and herbal teas. So you would put your hands around the mug, and you can imagine sort of some kind of colorful light either coming from down or above or from you, whatever works for you, and feel that going into the cup. And I know a lot of people also struggle with a visualization, and some people physically cannot see stuff in their mind's eye. It's been proven that some people's brains are wired, they don't have a mind's eye. So what I really like about Aidan Wachter in 6 Ways and a lot of the stuff that he talks about is there's so much emphasis on visualization. I've been guilty of this in myself in the past, when I say to people, you need to really get good at meditation. You do need to get really good at meditation. To me, that everything hinges off that, in my opinion and some other people's opinions, including Aidan Wachter and Matt Oren, funnily enough. And that but you also really need to get good at visualization. Well, some people's brains cannot do that. They're not wired that way. They physically cannot do that. So what Aidan says is, if you want to you know, say we're doing this cup thing, this tea thing, is to think about how you would feel if whatever you want came to pass, or whatever you're trying to think about the feeling of that, because a lot of us can think about how we would feel if we attained that, or how we think about how something makes us feel. And another way to do that is just use, if you struggle with that, is to just use your words. So just speak out loud what you want. In fact, you could do all of these things if you can visualize and feel the feeling and use your words. Then you're putting so much more into that. And then I'll sit down, and I might come to my desk, or down on my table on my sofa, sit down on my sofa, depending on where I am and what time of day it is, and whether it's the weekend or not. And just sit with that cup of tea, and I might put on a YouTube video, or I might put on a piece of music, or just something that I find calming. Sewing Tube is really good for that for me, and art studio vlogs, like that I mentioned earlier, is really good for that for me, because I find them really A, inspiring, and B, quite soothing. And once my tea has steeped, because if I'm doing a medicinal herbal tea, I'm steeping it for at least 15 to 20 minutes, because I really want to get the most out of that, the plant material. If it's just a regular sort of cup of Assam tea or whatever, once it's cool enough to drink, I can never drink my tea straight away. It burns my mouth. I'm always blown away by people who can drink their tea immediately. I think their mouths are lined with asbestos or something. And I will just mindfully sip my tea. I'll think about how the warmth of the cup in my hands. I'll sometimes hold, like this morning I was sitting with my cup held here to my chest, because the warmth felt really nice, and feel just the taste, and just really be in the moment. And that really helps to ground me. That's just one little thing. A cup of tea, making a cup of tea and drinking it. That's just one of those little things. I could really enjoy how beautifully sunny it is today, or just how cute, just watching Dr. Nomi squeaking as she's sleeping. Like, just enjoy the little things, fall in love with the little things. Wow, that card got me on another ramble. Hello, Blue Crescent Tarot, lovely to see you. I'm signing off now, though, I'm afraid. My mama taught me that too, about making tea. I am mostly German, though. You wouldn't know it looking at me, says Diane. Baba Yaga's house? What's about? Who's talking about Baba Yaga? Oh, Kelly Fitz popped in. I did not see you sneak in there. Hello, fellow Kelly. Lovely to see you. With so many countries around Germany, I think there is no German looking. I have some Asian ancestry, or perhaps I'm just used to the look and cannot see it. Love my coffee ritual in the morning, says Blue Crescent Tarot. I have to wait. My mum has a heat-resistant mouth. Tea is pure magic. It is pure magic, isn't it? Did you ever pick up that book? I think because I remember you sent me an Insta audio file, and you were saying, "Oh my God, I saw this book." I think you said you bought it, didn't you, a couple of years ago? I love it. Making tea now. Thank you. Hey, Toadstool Tarot's in the house as well. How you doing, Robin? When I travelled to Germany with my mum with her blue eyes, folks thought she was German. When I travelled to Italy, people thought I was Italian. You did buy it. I thought you did buy it. I thought I remember you saying you had bought it and you were looking forward to reading it. So yeah, I love me some books. Look at all these books. Books, glorious books. Oh my God, I'd love to have a library. These are just some of my current well. Anyway, before I start getting really weird and like licking the books or something, I'm going to go. So this ended up being longer than yesterday's one, go figure. But I feel like it had a bit more of a direction, and we got to hey, Jennifer, see Willow, we're just about to tap out, but lovely to see you. I glided you, by the way. So yeah. So yeah, I think I'm going to sign off. I need to go make some Lunchables. And I think my husband's going to take Nomi for a nice walk in the sunshine. I'm going to carry on photographing all these bloody pouches for my Etsy shop update. Goodness me, lots to do. And here I am procrastinating streaming, but I don't know if I'll be doing a live tomorrow or any other time in the week. But I had the urge again today, so I just thought just go with it, right? So lovely to see you all here. I'm just blown away by how many people are from the States are here, because obviously in the UK it's lunchtime, but you know, stateside, sort of East Coast, I know it's 5 hours behind, so it's like 8 in the morning for you folks. But yeah, Van Mar, thank you for the lovely help with the procrastination. That is my pleasure, my dear. Oh, don't worry about missing it, Robin. 8 a.m. I thought it's like you're 5 hours behind as well, aren't you? Jackie, hello, Jackie. So many people, everyone's procrastinating, streaming and procrastinating. I am enabling you and you're procrastinating, all of you, and I don't know if that is necessarily a good thing. Ellie says, lovely to catch you. Thank you, Kelly Fitz, for have a good day. You too. So yeah, all of you take care. Thank you for joining me for my many squirrel chasey, rambly, waffly video again, my live. And you all keep well, keep safe. Much love to you all, and ciao.